USPAP page 72. Advisory Opinion 2, AO2. This communication by the Appraisal Standards Board, ASB, does not establish new standards or interpret existing standards. Advisory opinions are issued to illustrate the applicability of appraisal standards in specific situations and to offer advice from the ASB for the resolution of appraisal issues and problems. Subject: Inspection of subject property application. Real property, personal property. The issue for real property and personal property appraisal assignments. USPAP requires the report to contain a certification indicating whether or not the subject property was personally inspected by the appraisers. What is the purpose of inspecting the subject property? Does USPAP mandate a minimum level of property inspection? What are the disclosure obligations relating to inspection? Advice from the ASB on the issue. Purpose of an inspection: the primary reason for inspection of a property is to gather information about the characteristics of the property that are relevant to its value, while there are other ways to gather such information. In many cases, the personal observations of the appraiser are the primary source of information regarding the subject property. Minimum level of inspection 3. An inspection is not required by USPAP, but one is often conducted, while an inspection is not required. Appraisal reports for real and personal property must contain a signed certification which clearly states whether the appraiser has or has not personally inspected the subject property. This is further discussed under the Disclosure Requirements 2 section, which follows. 3. The extent of the inspection process is an aspect of the scope of work, and may vary based on assignment conditions and the intended use of the assignment results. It is the appraiser's responsibility to determine the appropriate scope 5 of work, including the degree of inspection necessary to produce credible assignment results given the intended use. Every assignment is subject to conditions that limit, in one way or another, the inspection of the subject property. 7. Regardless of the detail one employs, it is always possible to perform an inspection that is more thorough. The appraiser's inspection commonly is limited to those things readily observable without the use of special testing 9 or equipment. 0. An appraiser may use any combination of property inspection, plans and specifications, asset records, photographs, property sketches, recorded media, etc., to gather information about the relevant characteristics of the subject to property. For some assignments, it may be necessary to rely on reports prepared by other professionals. In such 3 cases, the appraiser must comply with USPAP requirements related to reliance on work done by others. 4. There are many circumstances that influence the extent of the appraiser's property inspection. In some assignments. 5. The client may request that the appraiser perform an exterior-only inspection from the street or perform no inspection 6 of the subject property, i.e., a desktop appraisal. There are situations where inspection of the subject property is S7 not possible. For example, if the improvements have been destroyed, removed, or not yet built. In other cases, the aid appraiser is denied access to the property. 9. The appraiser must ensure that the degree of inspection is adequate to develop a credible appraisal. An appraiser -0 cannot develop a credible appraisal if adequate information about the relevant characteristics of the subject property 1 is not available. When adequate information about relevant characteristics is not available through a personal 123, see Advisory Opinion 23. Identifying the relevant characteristics of the subject property of a real property appraisal assignment, see Advisory Opinion 28, Scope of Work Decision, Performance, and Disclosure. See Comment to Standards Rules 1-2, and 7-2, 72 Advisory Opinions 2018-2019 edition. The Appraisal Foundation.